I've spent a good share of my life watching science and spirituality dance like awkward, distant relatives at a family reunion, suspicious of each other, but somehow unmistakably connected. Only lately have I realized they're not estranged cousins at all, but siblings wearing different clothes, each offering insight into the same grand mystery. Werner Heisenberg captured this beautifully when he quipped, "The first gulp from the glass of natural sciences will make you an atheist, but at the bottom of the glass, God is waiting for you." I've come to see that as an invitation. The deeper we peer into reality's mechanics, the more we bump into questions that can't be addressed by equations alone, the same questions that have been part of spiritual inquiry for millennia. Picture our universe as a cosmic hologram where any fragment, such as your brain, has access to the information in the entire hologram. Modern science flirts with this idea, and spiritual traditions have known it all along. When meditators claim to receive information from thin air, it's not delusion, it's them, as a hologram, fragment, or thread, connecting into the universal tapestry. Hence, the cosmic hologram constantly offers secrets to those who listen. That brings us to consciousness, our unsung hero. David Bohm, one of the fathers of quantum physics, believed that all matter and energy arise from one thing, consciousness, and that everything that arises from that one thing is just a fractal of that one thing. The painter, the brush, the paint, the painting, and the admirer are all facets of one thing. How close is this to what spirituality has been saying for millennia? Other than using different words, it's virtually identical to what the spiritual have long said, often at the price of their life. Since both camps reached this same conclusion in the same way, by contemplation, inspiration, and experimentation, are they really so different? The scientific concept of wave-particle duality suggests that a subatomic particle may prefer to spend most of its time as an electromagnetic wave, taking the form of a particle only so long as it's being observed. After getting one's head around the notion that the wave, which is derived from consciousness, turns into a particle, which is derived from consciousness, only while being observed by consciousness, a theme begins to emerge. Consciousness is not only the whole game, but how we can gain or lose ground in the game. So, if particles that have weight and resist moving like to spend much of their time as waves that have no weight and much less resistance to moving, are miracles all that miraculous, or just examples of higher laws? Higher laws that may now increasingly reveal themselves to scientific inquiry. When a meditating person pushes their hand into a rock to leave a permanent imprint, regular physics can't explain it, but higher physics may have no problem with it. Higher science may see that things like mass, weight, and density have their default ways of being, but are malleable in the presence of a sufficiently coherent consciousness. Then there's time, that slippery illusion. If all moments, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously in the quantum field now moment, time becomes less of an unrelenting conveyor belt and more of a web. That could explain prophetic dreams, intuitive hits, and remote insights that defy conventional science. Reality might not be sequential, it might be a cosmic tapestry of possible now moments we can optionally tune into, thread by thread. Max Planck warned us that paradigm shifts take generations to be accepted. One fearful generation or two is usually needed before the new truth takes root. This indicates that when scientists are offered the opportunity to follow the data, they often decline, when declining seems to be in their best interest. Perhaps the synergistic marriage of science and spirituality is the next leap. While the notion of the mystic scientist may sound new, it already describes many, if not most, of the more influential names in the history of science. Names like Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, Francis Bacon, Einstein, Schrödinger, Kepler, Bohm, Nikola Tesla, and Carl Jung. Moving forward, what if we invited both worlds communicate, collaborate, and evolve together? What if science broadened to include consciousness as a foundational principle, not just a quirky footnote? And what if science gave a higher priority to following the data wherever it leads, rather than perpetuating belief systems and revenue streams, and not rocking the boat? That is, what if science became more courageous, integrous, and scientific, And what if spirituality learned to better speak the language of evidence based inquiry without dimming its intuitive flame? The result may be a future that's both mechanical and miraculous, measurable and meaningful, where the peer review process also tracks how well conclusions resonate intuitively as truth, where science revalidates itself by being courageous enough to look at all the data, where spirituality is more willing to be rigorous in collecting data because it will be taken seriously. Carl Sagan put it best: the notion that science and spirituality are somehow mutually exclusive does a disservice to both. I couldn't agree more. Currently, science and spirituality are approaching the same horizon from opposite sides of the mountain. Perhaps as they meet, we'll finally see that all that was separating them was terminology and perspective. What will it be? The preceding was generated by an AI ghostwriter from Bob Cochran's writing and sampled voice. For more information on Bob's first book, Emerging Imaginal You, a time traveling note to self from the corner of science and spirituality, or his second book, Hyperdimensional You, Surfing the Shift Toward Mastery, check out Clever, the number 2, Wise, that's clever2wise.com. On Facebook, search for hashtag Clever2Wise. To help this work continue, like and share Bob's YouTube videos, which can be located by searching for @Clever2Wise. To be notified as new videos become available, click subscribe.